Fantastic. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's training webinar, meeting customer requirements. Sorry, I just got like a lot of emails also. Going to share my camera for a little bit just while people continue to join us. Make sure that you know I'm talking, audio is coming through, all that good stuff. Just real quick, before we go ahead and begin, just a couple webinars, updates. Everybody starts off mute. If you, for the agents out there, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'm not sure if you can, so I would say, okay, hit on the raise hand icon. Looks like a little icon, like a hand. That means you raise your hand, we can unmute you. Otherwise, you can ask your questions in the Q&A area, and I'm about to start a discussion there. Q&A right here. Host. So please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A area. If any agents do have any questions, like I said, you can type it in the Q&A area, or you can unmute yourself, raise your hand, and we will unmute you. I just wanted to say all questions should be geared towards specifically the requirements of the instructions, because you know sometimes different information shouldn't be shared with other folks and stuff like that. Just how things operate. Again, thank you so much for everybody joining. I believe I'm sharing my screen here, so I'm just going to take my face off the camera. We are recording. Fantastic. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Meeting Customer Requirements, Instructions for Success. Welcome to our Meeting Customer Compliance series. In this series, we'll dive into specific customer accounts, focusing on the requirements to successfully process loads. Our expert collectors, that's right, I said it, our expert collectors for each account will guide you through instructions, ensuring you understand the key standards needed to maintain compliance. So you have issues with these customers? Let's find out who. The right way. Expeditors International, there will be hosted by our expert collector, Sherry Linkhurst. Next, we'll have Thanker, bear with me if I pronounce that wrong, Inc. With Caitlin, and then DHL, now known as Standard Forwarding to my knowledge, with Jessica, and as well as Landstar Transportation with Rebecca. So each one of these presenters will be going over their presentation, over the instructions, more specific. So bear with me here. First, we have Sherry Linkhurst. Sherry, are you there? Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sherry Linkhurst, and I handle the Expeditors account. As you can see, we have various locations for Expeditors. Okay, each location has its own file number. And when you're doing your billing, this should be entered into reference number 1. And if you don't have it, you can enter the booking number or the house bill of lading. And you can see as you scroll down, it is listed on some of the backup paperwork. Right there, the 732, that's their file number. And then there's the house bill of lading or the booking number. And this is specific to each location. If you go down further, okay. We ask, and so does Expeditors, all additional charges need to be authorized because the people in ops need to protect those charges against the file number. And when accounting receives our billing, if it doesn't match up, then that's where it goes to ops, and this can cause delays in getting those charges paid. And there are times where they do sit for quite a while with ops until they can hammer out all the details. Make sure you're scanning in clear, legible the bill of lading and POD, interchanges, and any emails that you might have for any charges regarding the rates or accessorial charges. There have been times when ops forgets to update the charges, so accounting can't pay them, or a person might have left the company. And trust me, this will assist me with getting those charges updated as long as we have the email stating that they were validated and they would be added to that file number. And again, several locations that received weekly spreadsheet billing along with the invoices that were billed out for that week. And then there's some that just received emailed invoices. So we really try to accommodate expediters with their billing request. And basically that's it. It's just, making sure that you're billing to the right location. And I think that's from a collection standpoint, that's one of the issues I have is, different locations getting the wrong invoices when they get their billing. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Fantastic. As anyone has any questions for Sherry, she is the account collector for Expeditors. Shoot them away. Please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A and or click on the hand icon to raise your hand. While we're patiently waiting for any potential questions, a couple of things. Again, Sherry is the account collector, so you can contact her directly at her email address. One of the things that she did say was that the account codes are very specific, so make sure you use the right account code. If you're not sure, please contact Sherry Linkhurst. And this one's a big one. I want to just scroll down here. Bear with me here. This one's a big one. A lot of times they definitely need this reference number. This is reference one, right, Sherry?
That's the reference or file number. And
Yeah,
that's the number, that is geared to, like if I see a 709, that could be Atlanta, 732, it's for each location has their own sequence of numbers.
yeah, yes, you're exactly right. I remember seeing that too. Yeah, and these are requirements that go in reference one. Thank you so much, Sherry.
Thank
I
you.
do not see any questions right now, so I think we can jump into the next one. Thank you. Next, ladies and gentlemen, bear with my screen here, but we have Caitlin. Caitlin, you're going over Schenker, is that correct? DB Schenker?
That's correct.
Fantastic. Thank you, Caitlin. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and do your thing.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caitlin Melanson. I am the representative for DB Shanker Inc. They kind of go interchangeably together. So this customer, they do require that a final charge summary is provided within 48-hour time frame to their operator after a delivery or drop. They also require that their archive number is listed on our invoice, preferably in the reference one spot. Reference two is perfectly acceptable as well. Invoices must be submitted within a 3-month time of the service date. Any invoices received after this 3 months will not be accepted and are subject to non-payment or deduction. However, there are special cases where they will accept invoices up to 6 months. Please refer to the special instructions field on the bottom of the delivery order provided to you to confirm the time frame that Schenker issues. All invoices must include a BOL or POD, both if you have one, in and out gate tickets, street turns if there is no out gate or in gate, a copy of the Schenker delivery order, and proof of any approvals for additional charges. All accessorial charges must be communicated in real time via email for approval. If prior approval is not obtained from DB Schenker, charges will not be paid, no exceptions. Where can you find Schenker's archive number? Let's see. Schenker typically uses 2 different formatted delivery orders. The first and most common I have a little screenshot of. Their archive number on this specific delivery order is located on the top left side. I've highlighted it yellow for easy view. You can also see that there is another highlighted number to the right side. That one's highlighted green. This is another important Schenker reference. This is their tracking number. You can list this on the invoice if you would like. They don't require it. And then if you scroll down, there's their second format of delivery orders. These aren't as common, but they still do get used. You can find the archive number towards the middle left under pickup location on this one. Now for special instructions. All of Schenker's delivery orders include a special instructions at the bottom. These special instructions, I have a few examples. They can include information regarding the last free day, additional costs, schedules, and or any specific contacts needed if you're experiencing any issues. Per diem and chassis, Schenker is currently enrolled in our auto billing program for per diem charges. Please make sure that you inform Schenker of any potential per diem charges that they may receive so they can plan accordingly whether to pay or dispute. In addition, Schenker has direct billing contracts in place with Track, MSC, and CCM at this time. We should not be billing chassis on the freight invoices for these providers. We should only be billing chassis for these if we receive an invoice from the steamship line. Any questions? I think that's all.
Well said, well said. Anybody have any opportunity? I see a hand raised here from PRA Nina. Thank you. Nina, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you and you can ask your question. You might have to unmute yourself. I allowed it.
There you go. Thanks, Gabe. Caitlin, I just had a quick question to confirm. So it's the terminal's responsibility to let Schenker know that they're going to receive per diem. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, ma'am. If you are aware that per diem charges might occur, Schenker would need a heads up.
Okay. And even if it say that we may be suspected, because sometimes it's when we're reading, like, I'm not sure if, contracts with steamship lines have anything to do with per diem or whatever the case may be. Even if we suspect it, we should just at least give them a heads up.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. That was just I just wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
And thank you, Nina, for using the hand raise option, and we were able to successfully unmute you and ask your question. Folks, please feel free to ask your questions directly with the account collector. You can ask them if they're instruction related here, and you can also contact them directly as well. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we have DHL Standard Forwarding by Jessica Freed. Jessica, are you available?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, my name is Jess and I'm the collector here at corporate for DHL. Account code right there, DHL WEBNC. When you're initially accepting your order, your first order, DHL will provide you with your login. Those login credentials will need to be provided to myself and Lindsay here at corporate so that we can invoice and collect in their Comcore portal on your behalf. Lindsay is the biller, so you'll be hearing a lot from her too as well. Please try to accept these work orders within 1 business hour or as soon as possible of receiving any notifications. If you find out you're not getting alerts for some reason, please reach out to admin. Feel free to CC me in as well. Your appointment times. Scheduled appointments must be updated at the time the appointment is made. Any appointments made within 24 hours, or all appointments, I'm sorry, need to be made within 24 hours of the container becoming available. Any preset appointments, you'll need to please update your first stop with the actual outgate prior to your scheduled client appointment time. All 4 of your stops, outgate, arrival, departure, and ingate, need to be updated ASAP, preferably in real time, to ensure orders are moving smoothly into that RTB or ready to bill status. When entering these dates, please double check all of them for accuracy, as this is what DHL will use to determine the number of chassis days that they'll pay us or any per diem that may occur. If these dates are not entered correctly and we are short paid, the agency will automatically be deducted the difference. Amendments for any kind of accessorials are to be requested in the portal in real time, or you risk the charge being denied. Once that in-gate is entered, your invoice will move into a T status or terminated status. After this happens, you have 48 hours to get all missing charges requested, because once that switches over to RTB status, DHL is no longer going to accept or approve any additional amendments. Same as chassis and per diem, any missing charges billed on Evans that are not in DHL portal will be an automatic agent deduction. Chassis. Main thing with chassis that we ask is please do not bill pool chassis with your freight invoice. Only bill your terminal owned chassis. Terminal owned chassis should be communicated with your dispatcher or DHL contact when you enter that in-gate date on the DHL portal. Evans Corporate or the chassis team here will handle all other invoices and or paying of commission to agents upon any receipt of payment from DHL. We ask that it's done this way because DHL has a specific way they handle their chassis and pay most providers directly through their own contracts. When reviewing your chassis in the equipment portal, for this reason, we ask do not mark it to bill customer. Please mark it as corp review, so then the chassis team can reach out to me and I can review it and compare to the DHL portal and advise them to either mark it as billed as DHL is paying us, or to create an invoice to send to DHL for payment. It is the agent's responsibility to make sure all charges in the DHL portal are updated and match what you are billing in Evans system. If your charges do not match, you need to contact your ICC dispatcher immediately. Email approval of charges does not guarantee payment. Everything must be in the DHL portal. Our billing specialist, who I said is Lindsay, will bill out all invoices in the portal once they hit RTB status. DHL will only pay based on what charges are listed in their portal, not what is on an Evans invoice or any charges approved in email. Please note that if an invoice is submitted with charges not matching, again, DHL will not be responsible for any short paid invoices. For this reason, we ask that agents do not invoice on their own in DHL portal. Any issues that you come across regarding maybe a change in base rate or missing accessorials after you request an amendment, you must email your respective ops area prior to us invoicing, being east, west, or central, depending on what region you're in. For driver detention, DHL requires a signed POD by the shipper, and you must notify them at the time of the detention, or your driver detention will not be approved. When billing out on Evans, please make sure the entire rate con or work order is scanned in along with all of your gate tickets, signed PODs, and any other required documents for accessorial charges. If possible, we ask you screenshot your approved charges on the DHL portal and scan that screenshot in along with your required documentation. We ask this because sometimes DHL portal has some glitches and things get accidentally removed. So if you have that screenshot where you entered the amendment and it was approved, they're more likely to add it back in and pay us for it. When entering your charges, please enter your DHL reference number into the reference field number 1 spot. The example of that reference being, it'll be a DH dash, a 6-digit number, and then a dash 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that invoice may be. And that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Fantastic. Thank you. That was actually very helpful DHL billing requirements. I didn't know all that. And I know they have one bill to code. Very helpful. And if anybody's out there doing business with DHL, please ask those questions. Very helpful instructions given to us. Just looking around here, I don't see any questions in DHL on the Q&A. I don't see any hand raised. Let's go through here. Okay, no, not at the moment. Thank you so much, Jessica. Next, ladies. Thank you. Next, we have Landstar Transportation. We leave the best for last. We have Rebecca Jackson. Rebecca, are you available?
I am available.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I'm the rep for Landstar. Not quite sure if it's the best for last, but fairly straightforward. Landstar does have 3 accounts. One is an Evans account. The 2 bill to codes that have the B at the end are both West accounts. All of them are billed by email, and they all go to the same email address, which is the LSBK route. If there are any additional documents that are either requested by Landstar or that I get from you guys and I'm sending to Landstar, that email is the request docs at Landstar. If we have any other disputes or issues, that is when I reach out to our contacts there, either John, Stephanie, or Brad, and they are each over a different mode of transportation when it comes to Landstar. Going to our billing requirements, you need to have the BOL and a signed POD. The documents must be legible. If the BOL is being used as the POD, the receiver's signature must be circled and it needs to be labeled as a POD. That can be as easy as just writing on it POD. Invoices must include Landstar's freight bill number. It is either going to be a 7-digit number or a 3-letter code followed by a 5 to 7-digit number. This is Landstar's reference in their system, and they must have this code to be able to find and pay this invoice. The rate on the invoice must match the rate con, and any accessorials must be authorized in writing by a Landstar agent and provided with the invoice and backups. Any receipts and tickets must be submitted as well with the invoice. And on the 2 West accounts, so that's, again, the 2 that end with B as in boy, they will not accept or pay any brokered loads at all. Again, they pay via ACH, varying intervals, and then just to sort of harp on really important things. Any changes, delays, reschedules, or issues must be communicated immediately. The Landstar freight bill must be on the invoice, not just on the backups. It needs to be put on the invoice. And any communication about rates or charges must be in writing. If any of those things are not provided, Landstar will dispute or they will refuse to pay the invoice. And that is it. Are there any questions?
Fantastic. I knew that one was short. Folks, please feel free to ask your questions. I just wanted to reiterate, while hopefully people might try to ask questions, but please note that this is very important here. Landstar and freight bill load number must be included and provided on the invoice. So when Rebecca says that, we're saying that it must be, let me scroll up, must be in reference 1. Can you confirm?
Yes, in reference 1.
Fantastic, thank you. And those are either going to be a 7-digit number or a 3-letter code followed by a 5 to 7-digit number. I've seen them. There's like a FB and then 5 numbers and just things like that. Thank you for pointing that out. And as always, and this really applies, let's be honest, really applies to every single account that we ever work with. Any communication about rates, charges must be in writing. And I was working with an agent the other day, and Gabe, I don't have it in writing. I don't see them, but you have it in an email. Well, what do I do with that email? How do I say, okay, they approved the detention charges? Well, we can do two things, and don't hold me down to that. It's probably more than just two we can do. But one, you can take that email and you can save it and upload it into the order so that email can go out with the order of who approved the charges. The other thing, and this is huge for other accounts, is just get a revised rate or delivery order, Raycon or delivery order from that customer with the added accessorial, with the added charges. Big, huge difference there. Always accounts for success on everyone's side. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Guys, I didn't see any questions here, just going through it again. Interesting, I got a different look here. Thanks. Anybody have any questions in regards to Landstar? Very straightforward though. Fantastic. Okay, well, once again, thanks everybody for joining. If you like a recording of this, please email the training department at evansdelivery.com. FYI, we have started adding this new feature that allows you to tell us what more that you want. So at 5 p.m. today, you should be receiving an email. You don't have to do it today. But tomorrow, we look forward to what more you want to see in the webinars and even just training in general. So please feel free to fill those out. We look forward to that. You can ask questions, tell us you want to follow up. We'll make sure any expert will contact you. Thank you everyone for joining today's training session webinar, and please enjoy the rest of your day and evening. Thanks everyone.